Pure authenticity, refined taste, sophisticated style, classic grace, ultimate prestige. The Pebble Beach Concours d'Elegance is literally translated a competition of elegance. Today, we celebrate the rich history, the technical merit, and the infectious energy at the premier gathering of the collector car world. A stroll amongst the exceptional works of art on the manicured lawns of the 18th fairway at the Pebble Beach Golf Links is like an enchanted journey aboard an aristocratic time machine. The time travel begins with pre-war antiques, through the much-lauded creations of the classic era to mid-century preservations, and will ultimately land in America's golden age of the hot rod. Commemorate with us the 100-year celebrations of Bentley's incomparable creations and Zagato's coach-building brilliance. Witness the assemblage of all 4 remaining Bugatti Type 59s together in one place for the first time since their creation. Celebrate the fascinating tale of an American antique who is a member of the family. Catch up with the collector car elite on their most anticipated day of the year. Admire the custom creations that changed car culture forever, and experience the restrained, nervous anticipation surrounding an award that symbolizes engineering excellence, historical significance, and striking distinction. Best of show. Welcome to the 2019 Pebble Beach Concours d'Elegance. Today is the single most important date on the collector car calendar. Classic cars from around the world gather here to compete based on their style and technology, as well as their provenance, lineage, and of course the quality of their preservation and restoration. I'm Justin Bell, this is my co-host Amanda Busick, and as you can tell, there's a great sense of anticipation and excitement because we're all waiting to find out who is best of show at the 2019 Pebble Beach Concours d'Elegance.
Well, I can guarantee you the excitement is high in the car owners behind us because one of them is going to take home the most coveted title in the collector car world, an achievement of a lifetime.
But remember, Amanda, that these cars are masterpieces, works of automotive art that were never designed actually to be looked at statically. Instead, they were imagined, created, and designed with one single objective in mind, and that is to be driven. And
driven they were. On Thursday, MotorTrend's editor-in-chief Ed Lowe and the International Bureau Chief Angus McKenzie took on that highly anticipated Tour d'Elegance presented by Rolex.
This is the day these cars and drivers have been waiting for, some for all of their lives.
The opportunity to showcase what separates these sculptures from other works of art. They come alive when you fire them up, and driving them along the Central California coast is a dream, as we're about to find out.
This is awesome. I'm at the wheel of a 1938 Mercedes-Benz 320 Combo, a really stylish, elegant car. I'm with Rob from Mercedes-Benz, who's keeping an eye on me. What I love about driving in this event is that you do see cars that you've only ever seen in museums moving on the road, because to me a car, its character completely changes when it's in motion. You see stuff that you just don't see in a standing still.
You absolutely do, and I think that, you know, the thing about Pebble Beach, if you're a car aficionado, you'll see things that you never saw before, but you'll see them 3 or 4 times throughout a day. It's really just an amazing paradise.
Driving along the breathtaking Pacific coast, these car owners consider the 80-mile cruise both an honor and a privilege, as do I. because the Tour d'Elegance and Dawn Patrol on Sunday present the very best opportunity to not only see, but hear, feel, even smell these stunning machines as they go roaring by.
What's so great about these old cars, especially from the 30s, driving is really an event. It's an occasion. I don't think you ever have a sort of a mundane cruise in these cars.
Not only does the tour allow owners to showcase their cars to the general public, it actually matters in the competition.
That's right, Angus. In the event of a tie on Sunday, participation in the Tour d'Elegance could determine the winner.
Well, we've had a fantastic day so far, but it's not over yet. The sun is shining and there are thousands of people here admiring these gorgeous cars. But there's much more to come. We have centennial celebrations of Bentley and Zagato, 4 Bugatti Type 59s, plus top collectors, racing greats, and even a few Hollywood stars right here at the Pebble Beach Concours.
Welcome back to the Pebble Beach Concours d'Elegance. In 1919, W.O. Bentley founded Bentley Motors in order to, and I quote, build a fast car, a good car, the best in its class. And that's been Bentley Motors' guiding principle ever since. We've been celebrating Bentley Motors' Centennial all year long and all around the world. The city of Le Mans named a street after the famed Bentley boys. The Continental GT set a new record as the fastest production car ever up the Pikes Peak hill climb. The Pebble Beach Concours is honored to share in this centenary celebration.
Do you know that 85% of Bentleys ever made are still on the road and drivable? Think about that. That is thousands of these incredible vehicles still able to be driven. And if you're here on Monterey Bay Peninsula this week, you might think a lot of them have turned up. Well, over 100 private owners have accepted the challenge and bought their own personal pride and joy here to celebrate Bentley's centenary. Whether it was kicking off the Tour d'Elegance, winding their way through the 17-mile drive, attending all the other various car events, Bentley have been busy.
With more than 50 cars on the lawn, Pebble Beach Concours has pulled together what is perhaps one of the greatest collections of historic Bentleys ever assembled. There are 6 full classes of Bentleys competing here, including the very first car W.O. Bentley sold to a customer in 1921, Bentley boy Tim Birkin's original prototype blower, the Speed 6 cars that raced to glory at Le Mans, several of W.O.'s final Bentley creations, the magnificent 8 litres, and a multitude of one-off Derby Bentleys and post-war coach-built cars.
A lucky few are getting a parade lap around Laguna Seca. And leading that field is a 1929 Bentley blower and Reese Millen's record-breaking Pikes Peak Bentley Continental. There are so many things to do on the peninsula this weekend, but everything drives towards the Pebble Beach Concours d'Elegance on Sunday. So from racing to breaking records, Bentley has always been about performance, embracing the latest in technology. So whether you're getting a new GTC, the Continental, the Flying Spur making its debut, or with an eye towards the future, its concept car. From the Bentley boys through to the modern owners, it's all about the Bentley lifestyle. So whether it is at a cocktail event or one of the other lifestyle events on the peninsula this weekend, everybody's certainly been having a good time.
And from one centenary to another, 1919 was also the year Ugo Zagato founded his carrozzeria in Milan. Over subsequent decades, he went on to create some of the most stylish and beautiful cars ever seen. And after 100 years, the Zagato firm is still in the hands of the family that founded it.
My grandfather was Ugo Zagato. He established a company in Milan in April 1919 as a coach building atelier for cars and airplanes. A coach builder is somebody who is devoted to the reskinning of the car. We are thinking about everything you see and you touch when you look at the car. My grandfather, he had the idea to make a transfer of technology from aeronautic to automotive. So the basic idea was to make light cars when all the cars used to be bulky and heavy. So the Zagato became the lightest car in the car market and in the race. And this brought Zagato to win all the major races like Le Mans, Mille Miglia, Nürburgring, all over the world.
These cars obsoleted everything that came before them almost immediately, so they were quite a turning point in 1931 when they first emerged as race cars.
Alfa Romeo was driven by Jano, who was an engineer, and he became very close and friends with my grandfather. So they start working together. My grandfather on the body and Jano on the engine.
This particular car was the last race car Enzo Ferrari ever drove personally. It was then rebodied with a Zagato body in 1932, so it had a phenomenal racing history as well as the eponymous Zagato body, so to me it sort of ticked all the boxes.
Enzo Ferrari, that noticed the successful of this relationship, wanted absolutely to have my grandfather as a partner of the Scuderia Ferrari. So all the Scuderia Ferrari cars had a Zagato body on them.
The original owner of this car was Mr. Galuzzi from Milano, who was a gentleman racer. And he went to Ferrari and bought the chassis and had it delivered up to Milan to where Zagato was and still is today. At the time, Andrea's father was there, Elio Zagato. Elio helped design this car and they produced it. And right away, Galuzzi ran races with the car, took it to concourses. And the double bubble roof is an extraordinary thing. It's amazing that no young designer has picked it up and it's never been repeated since 1956.
The idea of the double bubble came in the early 50s when they approached this world of the Gran Turismo in order to allow a beautiful and sleek car to have enough space for the helmet during the weekend in order to race it.
And it quickly became Zagato's masterpiece.
And this tribute to Enzo Ferrari became probably one of the most iconic cars of the 50s.
So this is the 100th anniversary of Zagato that we're celebrating this weekend here at Pebble Beach.
Zagato today, he's back to the origin, to the roots. He's still an atelier.
Where so many other Italian carrozzeries are now gone, but they still exist, and this is part of their heritage.
And we would like to achieve the goal that every model of Zagato could become iconic. We are not keen to produce consumables, but we are keen to produce collectibles.
This little Z is a defining mark of class, prestige, and hand-tailored design. Coming up, the biggest names in the collector car world and a shift here at the Pebble Beach Concours. Is that hot rods on the 18th fairway?
Welcome back. Now, as you know, Pebble Beach Concours is synonymous with elegance, style, and panache. But this year, Amanda, there's a special class for cool with a K.
Well, when you say cool, Justin, in the 1950s, guys from Southern California started hopping up and chopping down Model Ts, A's, and V8 Fords. And Hot Rod magazine started showing up on coffee tables around the country. But there was no car that made more of an impact than this hot rod right here. It was so popular, even the cool kids wanted to copy it.
Believe it or not, this extraordinary machine started life as a $5 Model T body on a $100 Model A frame. From these humble beginnings, hot rodder Norm Grabowski created this amazing work of art. And indeed, every one of the hot rods here is one of the most iconic of its era. Each one of them represented on a cover of a magazine. We talked to hot rod historian Ken Gross about the significance of some of these vehicles.
In 1955, Hot Rod magazine, which was the Bible of the hobby in that era, were always looking for striking, unusual, interesting, and maybe first-of-a-kind cars. And Norm's T ticked all those boxes. I mean, you had this radical, abbreviated, tilted little beast with a big Cadillac motor at the cut-down windshield. It really looked the part, and it looked fast because there was nothing more than an engine, a frame, and a tiny little body. There was a very popular television show called 77 Sunset Strip. An actor named Ed Burns was the valet parker, if you will, and his car was this car. Norm rented the car to the studios, and a lot of people, myself included, and as it will turn out, the present owner, Ross Myers, watched that show. Guys all over America wanted to see Kooky do his thing, and they loved that car.
Ross is a great guy and a good friend, and I get the phone call and he says, Roy, I just bought the Kooky car. He goes, would you be interested in restoring it? And I'm like, yes, of course.
But what he bought was not the car that was on the cover of Carcraft with flames and a quad carb manifold. It was pretty badly mauled and mashed and changed.
When Ross saw the car, he knew exactly what he wanted. He wanted it just like he saw it on TV when he was a kid. That's the most important piece of history.
The T-Bucket quickly became one of the most copied hot rod body stars. Indeed, even TV Tommy Ivo wanted to get in on the act.
In the 50s, Tommy Ivo was not just your average hot rodder. He had made quite a fortune for himself as a TV actor. Yeah, Tommy decided to build this car, I think, after he saw Norm Grabowski's car. Tommy knew where Norm lived and went over to his house, and as the story goes, took some measurements, and while it was in the driveway, I think when that was happening, I think Norm found him out there and said, well, what are you doing out here? And I guess he said that he wanted to build a car, and imitation being the sincerest form of flattery, I don't think Norm ripped up his notes. And Tommy, being the speed guy that he was, I think he always wanted to go one step faster.
Check out the pinstriping on this car. It's the last work of the legendary Von Dutch.
Well, the crowds sure are loving the hot rods here at the Pebble Beach Concours, and there's another fascinating story in this class. Jim Govro started building his hot rod when he was 15 years old. This is affectionately known as the Tweety Bird. After 50 years of being parted from his beauty, he was reunited after his son overheard it at a swap meet. Jim joins us here on the lawn today. Well, after months of secrecy, it's now time to peek into the future. Let's head over to one of the most anticipated venues here at the Pebble Beach Automotive Week with Ed Lowe.
We're here at one of my very favorite places at the Pebble Beach Concours, the Concept Car Lawn. And we're surrounded by not just concept vehicles, but race cars and production cars as well. But I do want to focus on just a handful of the actual debuts here at Pebble Beach, like this Acura Type S concept. It showcases what could be the future of the Acura TLX and brings back the sporty Type S name with a long hood and really crisp lines. And over here, another jaw-dropping concept, the Lotus Evija. This is basically a numbers machine. Only 130 will be made, cost is $2.5 million, horsepower just under 2,000, and Lotus claims this all-electric supercar will go 0 to 200 miles an hour in under 9 seconds. Keeping with the all-electric theme, check out Karma's SC1 Vision concept, which is making its North American debut here at the Pebble Beach Concours. It's got a long hood, open top, and some amazing doors, but it's also a technology demonstrator. It's got 8 radar systems, 6 LiDAR systems, another half-dozen cameras on board, and Karma says when it comes to market, it will have level 4 autonomous driving capability, which would be the first of its kind. And that's just a taste of all of these spectacular cars here at the Concept Car Lawn.
With actor Linda Cardellini here at the Concept Lawn, and Linda, it's your first Pebble Beach Concours. What's been the highlight for you?
Everything. I loved seeing the old cars out there. There was a gorgeous old Mercedes. I loved being here and seeing all these concept cars. They're just incredible, and Pebble Beach is such a beautiful place. I'd never really come here for this event, and I just think it's outstanding. Everything about it, all the artistry, all the different cars, it's just so beautiful.
Well, we are surrounded by cars here. Which one are you taking?
I think I'll take all of them. I'll just like to take one at a time and try to test them out.
Well, I guess it's safe to say that you're going to be returning, huh?
I would love to return. You know, my grandparents actually honeymooned at Pebble Beach, and so it's really my grandfather loved cars, so it's really fun to be here.
Fantastic, enjoy.
Thank you, you too.
I think everybody out here on the field this afternoon has a particular class of vehicles that really appeals to them more than others. And for me, naturally, that would be race cars. Coming up after the break, we have a lovely feature on those magnificent Bugatti Type 59s, reunited at last. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back to the 69th annual Pebble Beach Concours. You know, this event has always stood for elegance and style, and perhaps no marque has been celebrated for those qualities here more than Bugatti. We all remember the time back in 1985 when the organizers put together those 6 Royales right here on this hallowed turf. But something tells me that this year they've outdone themselves.
Ettore Bugatti's final creations were the Type 59 race cars and road cars. Today they are together for the first time since they last did battle on track in 1935.
Bugatti is such a special brand, so different from all the other brands. It might sound a little bit crazy, but I sometimes have the feeling that the brand chooses the enthusiasts.
What I really love about the brand was just how refined and how quirky and how unusual they were as pieces of engineering, but also as objects of design. I'm an industrial designer myself, so I particularly appreciate that aspect.
Everything on a Bugatti has a touch of beauty, where you can tell that the founder of the brand, Ettore Bugatti, has not only a mechanical background, but also an artistic background.
What I really appreciate most about the Type 59 is the rarity, the elongated low bonnet line, the riveted spine, the drilled rails, the piano wire wheels. It's just an iconic car, and it's like a unicorn. You've never seen it.
The engines look different, the wheels look different. Bugatti was doing aluminum wheels when nobody else was doing aluminum wheels.
They're these absolutely iconic objects that defy any real logic in terms of engineering, but they're absolutely gorgeous. They're so beautiful to look at.
Everybody is bitten by the bug in a different way. That nearly becomes a disease, and that's a disease you don't want to be cured of.
Because of their historical significance, Pebble Beach Concours Chairman Sandra Button made it her mission to bring them all together.
We've been thinking about these cars, how they're going to be together for years now, preparing for 100 years of Bentley, 100 years of Zagato, and even some surprises with the Bugatti Type 59s.
What we see here is the first time that the 4 works racing cars, which were all sold to England by the end of the 1934 season, are coming together again.
Bringing these 4 cars together is a once-in-a-lifetime moment. Probably never happens again.
The Type 59 was literally a car when the whole story of Bugatti was about to end.
But that's also something special that I enjoy about the car, that it represents the end of an era.
When you see the cars static on the field on Sunday, this is one thing. You want to smell them, you want to hear them, and you want to see them driving, because they look completely different when they're driving.
The cars like to be exercised. Out on the open road, when we had a few pockets that we could open them up, it was quite special.
I did think of being transferred in time, like sitting in a time machine, and I have to tell you, I was close to tears.
Well, look who we have found. We're catching up with Marino Franchitti, hanging out here at the Pebble Beach Concours. This isn't your first time here. What always stands out to you?
I think just the amazing array of cars on display. Some beautiful old coach work, some race cars. Obviously the race cars are close to my heart, but I've become a bit of a hot rodder in the last few years. So yeah, there's something for everybody here, and especially me.
Well, as a race car driver, which one are you taking?
The 750 Monza. Seeing it racing yesterday at Laguna Seca, seeing it on show here today and seeing it win a prize, I think that's it doesn't get any better than that.
The feelings I feel when I sit in that seat, I can't almost even explain. It left me speechless after I drove it today. All the history of the people who've been behind that seat and that steering wheel before me. And Phil Hill, an F1 world champion, Carroll Shelby, that's just a legend. Jim Hall was kind of the first guy to put wings on a race car, so I mean, if anything, I feel like I need to do justice to the car to drive it well enough compared to those guys. The lineage of the vehicle has been well protected because it stopped racing in '58. It's kind of a virgin, if you will. It sat in a garage for 60 years or so and then came to public auction where we obtained it. People have asked me, what's it like driving this thing on the racetrack with the value of it? I try just not to think about it, really. Technologically, this car is pretty advanced for its time period. This has a Lampredi 4-cylinder in it. That doesn't have a head gasket. Ferrari had difficulty making a head gasket that would be able to last a 24-hour race. Shaking it down, testing it, learning what it takes to run these cars. It was a lot of work getting all the technical aspects of the car correct and also ready to race, but it was something that my dad and I thought we could do together. This is the first car we've really done for a racetrack in a while, the complete car. Being a racer that I am, we decided to go with this. We already did well at the racetrack yesterday, and I want to do well here at Pebble Beach. I'm in awe of being able to share the steering wheel that so many greats have before me. I think we want to continue on to race this car, share it with people around the world, and see where that goes.
Coming up, an American antique with a storied family history. I'll go behind the scenes with an expert class judge, and the Best of Show announcement is on its way.
Welcome back to Pebble Beach Automotive Week, which now includes the second annual Japanese Automotive Invitational presented by Infiniti and MotorTrend. We're surrounded by 54 amazing future classics, current production cars, cool concepts, and some very sweet race cars, all Japanese. Check out this 1969 Nissan R382. It features a 600 horsepower, 6-liter V12, which was a first for both Nissan and Japan, and it sent shockwaves around the world when it hit the track. Can you believe this baby is over 2 decades old? The Isuzu V-Cross first debuted in 1997 and featured advanced computer-controlled all-wheel drive and innovative styling that was way ahead of its time. If you want to talk about future Japanese collectible cars, you're looking at one right here. This is a 1971 Nissan Skyline GTR. It was a demon on the racetrack when it debuted and remains one of the icons for sports car aficionados around the world. Like all of these Japanese beauties, every car over there on the 18th fairway is a masterpiece. So how do the judges differentiate? What does it take to be named first in class or best of show? Amanda Busick is aiming to find out as she follows one of the judges during the high-stakes process.
The judging process is about to begin here on the line, and you can feel the intensity. Well, Colin Feitmeyer is one of the class judges. The cars are spread out on the 18th fairway with their owners. What's the anxiety level here?
Extremely high right now. The judging is about to begin for each class. The teams have just left the judging room, and the owners, this is the moment that they've been preparing for, in a lot of cases, many years.
Competition here is probably the strongest it is anywhere in the world, so it's a coveted place, so we get the best of the best.
At first look, what are you going to be taking a peek at?
First thing we're going to do is ask the owner about the history of the car, and they're going to show us their history files, their restoration files, where they found the car, and what the car throughout its life, its condition. And then we're going to ask them to start the car for us. make sure all the instrumentation works. And then we go into a very detailed look of the engine compartment, the undercarriage, the body, the interior.
Two magic words that come to the surface, and that's originality and authenticity. And we are just manic about authenticity. Cars that looked like the day they were delivered to the new owner.
Now, points can be deducted, but they can also be gained. When does that happen?
Absolutely. We have an elegance category at the end that we can add points based on the elegance of a car. And that's often a tiebreaker, especially if a car is a very important car or a special car.
And often it's nothing more than the judge's sort of visceral reaction to the car. The best in class is about as good as it can get for a car in that category. And that car then advances to the winner's circle, and it's from the cars in the winner's circle that the team leaders and honorary judges choose best of show.
When the owner receives a best of show honor, what does that mean for the car?
Oh, it puts the car in a pantheon of great examples, of very few examples, and it locks it in history, really.
It affects the value of the car, it affects the pedigree of the car, the prestige of the car, and it certainly affects the thrill of the owner.
I'm sure the owners are really excited to see you this morning. Can you give us an insight to what's going on in their mind?
They put years into getting the car to this point, and it culminates on one Sunday morning. So I'm sure there's a lot of nerves, and they want to make sure everything goes just right.
It's the #1 fairway in golf. It's the #1 fairway in antique automobiles. So it's a privilege to be here.
We keep talking about traditions here at Pebble Beach Concours, and one of them is bumping into Jay Leno. Jay, so what about this event keeps bringing you back year after year?
Well, it's always an interesting car. I find as I get older, I get more practical. Like I went by the new Lincoln 4-door, you know, which mimics the old days, the coach. And I was very impressed. I like that. I go, wow, I'm looking at Lincolns now. You know, so it's just made me laugh. It's pretty funny.
And you always take an early morning stroll down the lawn before it gets busy.
It's fun getting here at like 6, 7:30 in the morning because first of all, you get to hear the cars come in, and especially nowadays, all cars kind of sound the same. But hearing cars from 1902, you know, all the way up to the present, it's kind of interesting to hear all the sounds that they go through.
So we're about to show a feature on the Pierce Arrow, but you actually have one, which I've seen, sitting there in the collection.
Actually, I'm a huge Pierce Arrow fan. I think it's the American Rolls Royce. Pierce I have is called a Model 66. To this day, it's still the biggest engine ever put in a car. It's 825 cubic inches, and it's a 6. So the pistons are like paint can size, and they have 3 spark plugs per cylinder. Since there's so much surface area, you've got to have 3 sparks giving it. But it's just a torque monster. I remember one day I was sitting at the light, and I pulled away, and I went, oh, what's wrong? It feels sluggish. Oh, I'm in 4th.
You're in 4th.
I'm in 4th. Yeah, so it really is an amazing automobile. They were built in Buffalo, New York, and when a Model T Ford was $260, they were $9,000, $10,000. So it's really a quality piece.
Well, you're going to enjoy this one. The next feature is on a Pierce Arrow that's 8 years older than your one.
There you go. There you are. Just like him and me.
Well, Pierce Arrow's a very high-quality luxury car. Appealed to a clientele that was more conservative than some of the other luxury brands. A person who was comfortable with their wealth and wanted a high-quality machine with the ultimate in comfort and engineering. Pierce Arrow sold the steak, not the sizzle. Pierce built a number of open touring cars, and they built several different sizes. And the Cavallo car is a Model 36 Pierce Arrow. You'll find it interesting that it's their smallest series, and yet the car is huge.
Uncle Duff found this car in a garage in Eureka on a farm that he had just bought. And after he passed away, he handed this car down to my father on his first birthday. And then after my father passed away, we entered the car in concourse as kind of a way to remember him and come together.
The first challenge that you would find in restoring a Pierce Arrow is that because they were a very, very low production car, there's virtually no spare parts. They did not have a tremendous survival rate, so they're a very rare car now.
So 10 years ago, we had first seen it refurbished, so it was really nice to see it all come together because the parts were all sitting in the garage, all not connected to the car. Yeah, it was all disassembled, and it looked like almost a whole new car.
Pierce arrows are always significant at the Pebble Beach Concours because they're always a high quality car. They never built down to a price. People recognize them for their quality and they stand out on the show field.
So this is sort of obviously our biggest like physical connection we have with my father, and it's very important for our family because every 10 years we get to gather around and just use it as an example to like remember him by and just celebrate his life, because it's kind of just our way to say like thank you and like we miss you to our father.
You can see why they call these brass cars. There's a lot of elbow grease going into keeping the 1,200 pieces of brass polished on this car. Coming up, the announcement we've all been waiting for, the most prestigious award among collectors worldwide, Best in Show at the Pebble Beach Concours, just after this.
Welcome back to the Elegance here at the Pebble Beach Concours. Much of the money raised here this weekend is donated to local youth-focused nonprofit educational programs. As a matter of fact, over $2 million is set to be raised here this weekend. I promise you guys, Best of Show is right around the corner, but first, let's take a look at your first-in-class winners.
And now, here are the 4 cars nominated for Best of Show.
The 1931 Bentley 8-liter. Bentley celebrates its centennial, and this 8-liter was W.O. Bentley's final creation, and a car that did him proud. The chassis came with a guarantee that it could go 100 miles per hour no matter the coachwork.
1938 Talbot Lago. The European Classic Open class has been the source of multiple winners here at Pebble Beach, and this is the ultimate European Open Classic, a cabriolet exhibiting the sweeping S-shaped curves and lines and the so-called teardrop shape developed by the French firm of Fagoni and Falaschi.
1936 Mercedes-Benz 540K. This car is all about style. It has an incredible one-off Erdmann and Rossi body built to the unique specifications of the Woolworth heiress Barbara Hutton for her future husband. The most unusual request? The decorative exhaust pipes on the car's left side to balance out the real ones on the right.
1962 Aston Martin DB4 GT Zagato. This Aston Martin is a rare and gorgeous GT sports car with a body that is both elegantly proportioned and beautifully prepared. The fact that it is one of just 19 DB4 GTs built by Zagato is an added plus, given the fact that this is Zagato's centennial year.
And without further ado, the moment we've all been waiting for. Let's head to the ramp with your Master of Ceremonies, Derek Hill.
The 2019 Pebble Beach Concours d'Elegance Best of Show winner is the 1931 Bentley 8-liter Gurney Nutting Sports Tour, owned by Sir Michael Kadori of Hong Kong.
Now to Justin Bell with our winner.
Well, what an end to an absolutely spectacular day. So Michael Kadori has just won Best of Show at the 2019 Pebble Beach Concours d'Elegance. And I know you're a man who has experienced a lot of highs in life, but what about this?
Well, this is certainly a great high, but I think probably for me, it's a privilege to be here and with so many other enthusiasts, so many other passionate people, all of them who have put the best they can into their motor cars. Actually, all here are best of shows. I'm the fortunate one to receive the cup, but I can only say everyone here are winners.
And of course, we're celebrating a centenary for Bentley. Can you just imagine the significance of your beautiful car in another 100 years? What cars will be out here?
Well, I think W.O. Bentley is looking down at us now, and hopefully he will be proud that the celebration of the 100th year is here at Pebble Beach with all these fans of Bentleys, and let's hope for the next 50 years or 100 years we'll see more motor cars here at Pebble Beach, more winners, and some of them will be Bentleys.
Wow, what a result. In its centennial year, a Bentley wins Best of Show at Pebble Beach Concours.
And my understanding is it is the first time Bentley has won since 1965, if you can believe that.
What a car, what a day, what an event.
Well, what an amazing day that was. And Amanda, what was the highlight for you?
For me, it was definitely the energy on the lawn. From the judging this morning to the car owners to the fans, you could feel the excitement.
For me, it was a story of passion, whether it was the collectors or the fans, definitely the eager fans that turned up at 5 a.m. this morning to kickstart their day. But it's also a story of legacy. People are being inspired by these beautiful cars, and I think that's going to be a great thing for the car industry moving forward. And also, don't forget, it is a competition, and there was a winner, the car behind us, Sir Michael Kadorian, in a Bentley on Bentley Centenary. Truly amazing.
And we will see you all next year for the 70th annual Pebble Beach Concours d'Elegance.
eBay. Find a vehicle that is uniquely you.